The studio is a combination of industrial design students and interior design students being taught by another lecturer in interior design called Linda Roberts. And the brief was to engage the students with an NGO group called the Social Studio to develop some mobile retail outlets, and at the same time as doing that, engage in different modes of exchange and different modes of trade so that they could understand different ways, different sorts of business enterprises.
It started off working with interior design students, which was a group of 2 or 3, and then mid-semester 2 designs got chosen, and then it divided just industrial design, divided into 2 groups. So I think we had 5, 6 members.
Working with other people from other disciplines has been really useful in terms of, design disciplines have a lot of sort of similarities, but there's also quite sort of distinct differences in the ways in which people engage with the project and how they manifest their ideas and articulate their ideas.
Well, Social Studio is a good client to work for because they're not a typical retail outlet. They work with refugees and giving them work and skills. So the platform itself was different to other retail environments. So we were trying to create something which reflected the Social Studio and their uniqueness.
The best thing about doing this design studio was working for a real-world client. It's something you don't get to do much within the institution.
I think work with, in a group is the best thing because usually we're just working in individual. Yeah, this is kind of the first time working in a big group, like 6 people together.
Look, it's always hard working in a group because sometimes there's personality clashes and stuff, but the majority of people have good skills, got something to offer to the group, and as long as you identify them, you can work together.
First step, we were working with interior designer as well, so we actually learned a lot from them, like we see things differently. So sometimes we got arguments, but we learned to actually negotiate for that.
I wanted to create a space which was based on function, and they could customize it to whatever needs they wanted from a retail outlet, while still maintaining a bit of originality and have it a bit different.
When developing my design, I focused heavily on the materials and the aesthetic of the Social Studio out in Collingwood. A lot of their use of raw materials and exposed construction methods really influenced my design.
My thought process behind my design is to have this very compact box that you actually open it out and give out surprise. But because it's a compact, you can actually bring it everywhere and show out in any under different environment. So you don't require a big space. And because I thought the Social Studio been helping refugees, but refugees is kind of like hidden group in Melbourne. So my design was to have this little hidden elements. So it's actually encourage people, especially the public, to approach the group and explore the group instead of letting the group to stand out because they're pretty shy in general.
The main mechanics of it is sliding, whereas the other group's folding. So ours uses panels which slide out, which creates space for hanging garments.
My pop-up store is based largely around unfolding triangles. So it's the square box on the bike which unfolds, and then you set up a merchandising wall, which is using, as I said, the materials from the Social Studio store, ropes and plywood, and borrowing a lot from there or existing. The response from Social Studio has been very positive. They've been really blown away by the level of professionalism and creativity that we've brought to this project.
I really like our design actually, because they want something to relate to the Social Studio, the concept.
It's been interesting. We had to, in terms of presenting to the Social Studio and engaging with the client, we had to work in a way that was both amenable to their kind of business mode and the way in which they engage with people, so it had to be a very timely and very kind of concise way of engaging. It also had to be really open to change and open to the kind of flexible nature that an NGO has to kind of function within. It also had to be done on absolutely no budget, which is another kind of interesting thing for students to work towards. But students worked fairly autonomously in that they managed their own liaisons with the client. They went and spoke to people, they went and observed how people worked. They got a sense and a feel for what the mission of the social studio is, and then had to kind of incorporate that into their design decisions.
Social studio benefits a lot because they're actually doing something which is very popular at the moment with the sustainable approach, and they're also expanding from just having one store in one location to being able to have 2 stores anywhere around Melbourne at any particular time.
The students have developed a range of concepts for mobile stores, and out of that range of concepts, 2 concepts were chosen, and then the industrial design students took them into a phase of detailed design and prototyping. And the prototypes will be launched at the State of Design Festival for a social studio launch of their new season's range of clothes, so through a fashion parade. And then after that, they'll just go into service. So there'll be mobile vending outlets for the social studio, and they'll appear at festivals and just trade on the street and events and a whole range of other kind of activities. So you'll see them driving around or riding around the streets.